I'm here with Stwart, the co-founder and CEO of MacroCycle. Stwart, what are you and your team building, and what problem does it solve?
MacroCycle is creating the future of circular textiles. We can take textile waste of any quality and we're able to upcycle it back into a drop-in solution to enable true circularity, where our clothes never have to end up in the ocean or the trash ever again. And that is a major problem because over 99% of all the textile waste that's produced today ends up in our landfills, in our oceans, or it is incinerated.
Yeah, not very good. Now, where is your startup today? What do you have to share with the community about kind of this moment in time?
Well, as of the last 2 months, we've been able to make a major breakthrough. And they're actually right here. I would like to play a game. Which one is virgin and which one's recycled? To be honest, I don't even know if we are looking at it. We are now able to produce yarn that is identical to virgin gray to make sure that it can truly be a drop-in solution. And now our biggest challenge and next steps is to scale this up to a global scale. So over the next year, we're going to be looking to raise additional capital to start producing a much larger quantity so we can start addressing this crisis.
Love that, and keep building it right here in Boston. Now, what do you love about building here at the Engine and building in Boston?
I think the coolest thing about building at the Engine and in this Boston ecosystem is that there's been so many entrepreneurs that have done this before. So I am able to leverage them and learn from them to make sure I'm able to overcome the pitfalls that my predecessors have faced, especially in the space of climate tech and hard tech, which is capital intensive. There's many stories as to what not to do and many stories of what to do right. On top of that is the venture ecosystem. Having access to the capital locally has definitely been able to expedite our journey.
Yeah, great. And last but not least, what are some other startups you've learned from, maybe that have mentored you, that you admire from afar, that you would give a shout out to for the rest of the startup community?
The startup that I would give a big shout out to is Mantle Capture, also based out of the Engine here. The main reason for that is that they are a startup where a year ahead of us, they met and incubated in the same class out of MIT that MacroCycle started. They also were Breakthrough Energy Fellows a year ahead of us. So we were able to look up to them to see what is the path that we can take. I'm still close friends with the CEO, Cameron, and I do leverage him to try to learn as to what are the things I need to do to be a better CEO and to make sure that I'm able to make it as far as he have made it so far. So big shout out to Mantle, and I hope they make a massive breakthrough and success so we can follow right behind them.
This is Stwart, the co-founder and CEO of MacroCycle. Thanks so much for joining us.
The pleasure's mine. Thank you for having me.
I'm here with Evan, the co-founder of Helix Carbon. Evan, what are you and your team building, and what problem does it solve?
It's great to be here. So Helix Carbon is an electrochemistry startup based here in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and we're focused on decarbonizing the steel industry. So the steel industry today, it contributes about 10% of global carbon dioxide emissions. Wow. It's also, an enormous industry with a huge economic impact, about $2 trillion every year. And our focus is trying to provide a profitable and practical decarbonization solution for the industry. So the product that we build is what we call sort of an electrochemical reformer. It is a system that takes carbon dioxide-rich flue gases off of steelmaking furnaces and uses electricity to convert that carbon dioxide back into carbon monoxide, which is not only poisonous, but is also the primary fuel gas that is used for these furnaces today. So it is a drop-in carbon recycling solution that allows us to electrify the steel industry, significantly reduce their emissions, but also more importantly, reduce their operating costs by displacing what is today a pretty expensive feedstock in the form of metallurgical coke.
Yeah, that sounds like the definition of tough tech. Now, as we talk about this moment in time for your company, what's going on and what do you need help with?
Yeah, so right now we're a pre-seed company, so we raised a funding round last year that allowed us to get off the ground and start building our product and land our first customers, which is really exciting. And this focus for the past year for us has been scaling our product, right? So we've gone through 2 10x scale-ups of our system, and we'll be doing one more over the course of the next year as well as we go out and move to our first deployments. And so really the focus of the next year is execution, to continue to build, deploy, and validate our system in increasingly relevant and increasingly stressful environments. It's not for me, hopefully, but stressful for the system as we get it out into the field and prove it out with our customers.
That's awesome. Now, what do you love about building here in Boston and at the Engine?
The Engine's been amazing. I was a graduate student at MIT, and so this is obviously a very MIT-rich environment that I'm excited to be a part of and have so many friends in that were both collaborators in grad school and continue to be today. The fun part of being here is we basically were dropped in here and building within the first week, right? We had our first experiments up within a couple of days. It is really such a supportive way to get off the ground and get running with almost no worries, no overhead, right? All we have to worry about is building our product, which is actually a real luxury. And the community is also amazing. Not just the Engine itself, obviously the Engine is great, but also the community that they have built, other startups are amazing. One of our early employees was even referred to us from another company here at the Engine, and we continue to collaborate with a lot of the companies here as well. So that's been a really amazing part of the ecosystem.
That's great. Now, maybe it's startups you've collaborated with, admire from afar, or just are generally watching. Who would you give a shout out to the startup community for?
Oh man, there's a lot of compatriots that are doing electrochemistry that I love dearly. So Stwart Fuel's based here at the Engine. They're an aviation fuel company. I would also say Sylvanic is a carbon capture company that does electrochemical carbon capture that also came out of MIT, and so they have some really cool technology. And then of course MacroCycle, our neighbors at the Engine that are working on plastics recycling, have been really fun friends and inspiration for us in many ways as well.
This is Evan, the co-founder of Helix Carbon. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I am here with Chris, the co-founder and CEO of VioNano. What are you and your team building, and what problem does it solve?
We are building a new class of polymer materials that are used in semiconductor manufacturing. So the key problem that we're trying to solve is reducing the immense amount of variability that exists in leading edge semiconductor manufacturing today. So the reason why so many companies are struggling, they can't control these processes. We want to make materials that'll help that.
Sure. And what is going on in your startup today, and what are some of the things you need help with?
Well, we are extremely early stage, so right now it is myself and my co-founder. We're looking to hire some talent that is skilled in nanofabrication engineering and polymer science. And honestly, wafers, wafers, wafers. Anyone who has spare or scrap silicon wafers with test structures will take your trash and make magic out of it.
Wafers. Now, what do you love about building here in Boston and building at the Engine?
I love the fact that Boston actually has many decades of history in hard tech and chemical-driven innovation. So there's a wealth of expertise, not just great startups, but people who've been doing this for decades, being able to tap into the industry and having access to leading-edge facilities like MIT Nano and Harvard CNS in partnership with the Engine. So this is such a great ecosystem that they built here.
Yeah. And last, what are some other startups maybe you're watching, admire, have collaborated with that you would give a shout out to for the community?
Yeah, one thing that I think is really cool is a startup called ChemPower. So they're also innovating in the semiconductor manufacturing space. They're making what they call a slurryless CMP pad. So this could be a huge cost reduction as well as better process control. So they're in the same spirit that we are.
This is Chris from VioNano. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.